Ramashram Satsang Weekend Workshop, where you will learn a modern satsang method for obtaining peace, light, and love in your life. My name is Shivangi, and I will be introducing the facilitator for today's event. But first, I'd like to give you a brief overview to this satsang session. If you will direct your attention to the screen, you'll see that the first element is satsang. Satsang is a scientific method whereby we may obtain peace, light, and love in our lives. It requires no physical skill, spiritual accomplishment, or meditation experience to begin this practice. Satsang consists of two words, Sat and Sang. Sat means positive energy, and Sang means to be with or to be in the presence of. Therefore, the word satsang means to be in the presence of positive energy. The next element is meditation. Meditation is an important part of satsang. When we meditate, our consciousness is drawn from worldly objects and directed inward to focus on a single thought. In doing so, our minds become calm and our thoughts become pure, leading us to higher states of consciousness such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. Inner orientation. There are two types of satsangs, inner satsang and outer satsang. An example of outer satsang would be chanting or attending pilgrimages. When we practice outer satsang, we have the potential to change our behavior, but only through the practice of inner satsang can we obtain higher states of consciousness such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. This is the type of satsang we will learn today, where we meditate in silence. Group sessions. These weekend workshops are structured for group participation. When we meditate as a group, our focus is improved and our personal progress along our spiritual path is expedited. By regularly attending these weekend workshops, the benefits of group participation are amplified. Joy and inner happiness. All beings wish to experience joy. Joy is the eternal longing of the soul, but only through the practice of inner satsang can we obtain a joyous state. Each time we practice satsang, our inner happiness gradually increases, ultimately culminating in a state of joy that we experience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The agenda of today's satsang consists of three parts: the informative session, the practice session, and the interactive session. During the informative session, a lecture will be given about a satsang topic, our founder, or some relevant spiritual topic. During the practice session, instructions on how to meditate will be given, followed by a period of practice. During the interactive session, you will have the opportunity to ask questions, or there will be a panel discussion. And now, I'd like to introduce the facilitator for today's event. He has over 40 years of satsang experience. He is the grandson of Guru Maharaj, the founder of Ramashram Satsang. He was born into a satsang family where he witnessed his family members obtaining states of enlightenment and live lives of peace, light, and love. At an early age, he began traveling with the mission throughout India, facilitating satsangs. During that time, he witnessed the positive effects that satsang could have on mankind. Upon arriving in the United States, both he and his wife continued to facilitate satsangs for local satsangis. He has led teams of satsang members in translating important satsang literature into English and has worked tirelessly to make satsang more accessible to Western and English speaking audiences. He currently travels throughout the United States, India, and England facilitating satsangs while maintaining his duties as a husband, a father, and an IT executive. Today, he will teach us a rare and ancient form of satsang as taught by our Guru Maharaj. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Sanjeev Kumarji.
So happy Saturday, everyone. Glad that we are here in Satsang talking about UK. Actually, I was just attending an in-person session that was happening, or I was virtually attending an in-person session just outside London in Nottingham. So some of the folks are there. So what I discussed there, let me see if I can talk about that a little bit. So lately I've been thinking a lot about mental resilience. And, one of the reasons is that if we follow this practice, if we continue to concentrate, focus our mental energies using this practice or otherwise, you, in a way, enable some of the dormant, you know, capabilities. But the goal here is overall wellness, including mental resilience. So the one picture that comes to my mind is if mental resilience was in the middle, you cannot, completely, excuse me, disregard physical resilience. I'm sorry. I need to take a sip. So I think the physical resilience and mental resilience go hand in hand. So we kind of need to appreciate that aspect. And in a lot of ways, which one comes first is catch-22, because physical resilience is required for you to focus and concentrate on mental resilience, and in a lot of ways it also requires energy, and so physical wellness and mental wellness are absolutely and totally connected. One relies on the other, I would say. And then there is the third aspect, which kind of relies on these two, which is the physical awareness, the spiritual awareness, and the spiritual, um, higher consciousness, and the spiritual capabilities that, in a way, rely both on mental and physical resilience. So much so, if we look at those three layers, as usual, there are permutations and combinations. You could take a bottom-up approach, so physical resilience, mental resilience, and spiritual awareness, or you could take a top-down approach, which is, first try to do things which make you spiritually aware, and then with that strength enable your mental faculties and physical capabilities. So those are, but Guru Maharaj talked about, like, let's take the middle of the road. So his strategy is like, build focus, concentration, and start with the ability to create this mental and psychological capabilities, which then help you both ways to build out, lead a more, um, a lifestyle that will help in overall physical wellness, as well as, the strengths that you gather with, physical and mental resilience. You enable your spiritual awareness, and they kind of, it's not like a sequential thing, but focus on concentration, and that will enable the other two layers. So what Guru Maharaj writes, and we have talked about, so we have talked about, like, his view is, if you enable your dormant mental capabilities, the chances that you will be able to um, use the same approach, the same practice to just continue your journey towards spiritual awareness is fairly straightforward. However, apart from the hurdles that come because of, ego, and, once you have powers of any sort, physical or mental, um, it fuels the ego. And not only that, if you start leveraging those capabilities, which now maybe, if you do deep research, you can publish the paper, and then people would know you. And, this happens regularly. Anybody who attains something then gets noticed. And so Guru Maharaj's view is that there will be plenty of distractions that come about as soon as you um, have some accomplishments in terms of mental resiliency as well. So once you do that, um, you could get distracted. And what he is trying to say is that otherwise this practice will take you there. The only thing is that if you get distracted, the practice goes by the wayside. Now, I have discussed this in another context, that Sahaj Samadhi, or natural Samadhi, is a state where, um, where there were several things that start happening. And this is very uncommon. And one of the reasons why I feel that, while people understand it or not, people practice it or not, I still feel that it is worth coming together, even if just few of us, is because it is simple and powerful, but in some ways hard to follow through. Um, and if you continue, where do you get to? So somebody who doesn't demonstrate those powers, like, I can see the future, I can, read people's mind, and all those things, um, the people start praising you or insulting you, because you get labeled sometimes, and sometimes people put you on a pedestal. This guy is not distracted, right? If the ups and downs of life also, can distract you, and this person, because the practice becomes the core, So through the practice, things go up, things go down. There is happiness, sadness. There is, uh, something gets lost, something, you know, um, uh, some achievements, gains. But this person's practice continues. And if you continue that practice, you achieve that state that I'm describing where you are at peace because these ups and downs don't matter that much. And then you are able to provide that and share that peace with others, right? Um, and if you continue that, self-realization is pretty much, uh, you know, on the way. Um, so now, so we also talked about, so at that state, in that spiritual awareness, you also become aware of the connections that you have with the nature, with other people, with the consciousness, and overall. So now you are able to connect with them, love them unconditionally. You uh, think the empathy, the kindness, the love, all that starts evolving here. But still, there is detachment. That's the key there. Because if you get attached, as Buddha says, the misery is right next to it. So you do the service, but you are not expecting anything back. You're not getting attached to it, and even don't expect any praise out of that. Um, so yeah, it goes on and on. So basically, it describes. So several times I've mentioned that one of the things that I saw in satsang is that you practice. There is guidance. There is group, as we were listening from Shivangi. So there is group energy, group support, but overall, this practice can take you all the way there, provided you are not distracted, which is easier said than done, because every time certain things, come to play for us, one way or the other, you can resist and resist and resist, and then, it just takes you elsewhere. But what Guru Maharaj is saying, and this is the 9th chapter in the 28th chapter, 7-volume book, that if the singular goal is to imbibe, inculcate, and embody the transcendental energy, and if you're just into that practice, all of the above will. So this not only provides mental resilience, because uh, when you meditate, as we have discussed over and over and over, inward orientation. So you're taking your senses that are going outwards towards the world, you're changing that direction inwards. That has a huge impact itself. Then comes concentration, which is basically helps you converge. So the mental energies that are, or for that matter, all inner energies that were earlier going outwards and diverging, now are concentrating and converging. And that channelized energy enables inner strength, inner capabilities, which were dormant, which were not, quote unquote, available earlier. And that just leads to light, love, and peace. Um, you know, um, And the chapter actually goes on and on, but so essentially, this um, uh, embodiment actually, because this transcendental energy, unlike the worldly things that keep changing, does not change. So you become uh, even keel. You become grounded in peace the way um, normally we cannot, and people around us cannot. And that is phenomenal. That ability to be at peace on demand, like any utility. You turn the water on, you turn the electricity on, then why not turn the peace on? Have that ability and control. Um, so that's um, the thing. So mental resilience, physical resilience, and spiritual awareness sits on top, which should be the goal of meditating on transcendental energy. And yes, we can meditate on love and kindness. We can meditate on gratitude. We can meditate on manifesting lots of different things. But this takes us to a state which is um, absolutely uncommon, and something um, that brings all those things, and unconditional love, selfless love, the light that is knowledge, and peace that just keeps us, you know, go through life in a very, very, very different way. But I think another thing. So in subsequent sessions, I think I want to talk more about what comes in the way, what are the hurdles, because there are plenty, and also, it is uncommon because uh, the current culture and thought processes are kind of makes this counterintuitive, which it shouldn't be, but somehow. So if I get to that state, will I still be successful in my career, in my life? That question comes up again and again. So that needs to be tackled as well, because um, you know you have to um, sort that out. That it's not either or. It is how you stay um, completely grounded and in control should actually make the outcomes better, not worse. If you're more mentally resilient, I don't see how that can be a negative. However, somehow um, people don't want to do this, and they kind of have created this culture where mental resilience, things that make you mentally resilient are not somehow looked the way it should be looked at, and that then has a spiral effect of people around us don't seem to have mental resilience as much as they could. Every one of us can be more resilient. So on that note, let's get into the practice and imbibe, embody, and instill in ourselves this transcendental energy that can be transformative, that ought to provide us inner strength to become physically and mentally resilient, as well as move towards higher consciousness. That's the eighth limb. So meditation that uh, provides if utilized, so the energies that we are imbibing, if utilized properly, we could change our lifestyle, which could make us lead a more uh, physical and mental well-being could become part of it, as well as this higher consciousness, higher awareness become part of it too. Um, so for that, follow the first two principles, and the second two will uh, come in place. So inward orientation, for that, eyes lightly closed and sit in a relaxed and still posture. And now the key thing is that we're not far away. We're not, trying to visualize something. It should be that we are in the presence of this transcendental energy in form of light, and that light is entering our heart and distributing throughout our body, and we're becoming one with this light. So we are becoming the light. So mind wanders away because it doesn't want to stay on one thing. And when you realize that mind has wandered away again, bring it back to this thought and this thought alone, that this transcendental energy in form of light is right here, right now, and it's in form of light. That light is entering our heart, distributing throughout our body, and we're becoming one. We're getting completely and totally immersed in this light. So we'll start with music that helps concentration, and then the music fades away and we go deep into silent meditation on this transcendental light, and transition out with music again. Let's start now. Happy Saturday, everyone. So, talking about mental resilience, I think the more I think about it, the more I feel it's so important to focus on that, and then from that perspective, like think further and understand spiritual awareness. Um, so, in the art of happiness, Dalai Lama talks about, um, you know, if you want others to be happy, practice compassion, and if you want yourself to be happy, practice compassion. And when he talks about the practice, yes, there may be some things that are different, but evolving a practice that uh, you know kind of makes you self-aware, makes you look at your thought processes, um, all that builds mental resilience as well. And uh, interestingly, he also says research on human happiness identify compassionate service to others as one of the key characteristics shared by many of the world's happiest people. So service is important. And he also is talking about in terms of, uh, you know, kind of related to mental resilience, that today, with new insights from the field of neuroscience, especially with the discovery of brain plasticity, we know that the human brain is highly amenable to change and adoption even at advanced ages. And you know, so just keep learning how to be more aware, how to be more resilient, and essentially, I think that without focus and concentration, even it's hard to even get success in anything. And if you want to, uh, you know, kind of relate that to your physical, mental, and spiritual wellness, you know, some we have to invest into it. But anyway, on that note, let me open it up. Liz, Paula, Jeff.
Happy Saturday, everyone. Always wonderful to meditate with you. I had a beautiful meditation today in particular. And I also enjoyed your, as always, discussions and talks, and a reassurance that if you do practice this kind of meditation on a regular basis, it will not impact your job. It will enhance your performance, I think. Because I've heard that criticism as well, or not criticism, but anxiety surrounding that. I remember a friend of mine, she was a very big, avid tennis player. And she said, there's a certain amount of aggression that you need to have when you play sports.
Yeah.
And she said that like she knew someone who was so at the top of her game at some point, but this person started to, become kind of a regular meditator, and said that when that began to happen, she didn't have the same like gusto in her game, but she became a yoga or like a yoga instructor or a meditation teacher. So I mean, that's like a sort of a singular case. I mean, she might have just like had a different life calling once she started to tap into her mental energies. But I think, in fact, sometimes when you can have aggression isn't quite the right word, but there's a lot of power in not necessarily being aggressive, but being forceful. And I think meditation can help you with that. And I don't know if my words are capturing that quite exactly, but you can be more effective without being aggressive, actually, and powerful too, in a positive way, not in a bad way, obviously. I don't know if that makes any sense, but meditation can help you do that, actually. Aggression is like kind of it's a helpful tool, but it's a little primal. And do we want to employ that? Do we really want to employ that? Is that the best way to um perform?
No, and I think I had also read an article which came out where um, the author was kind of saying that if you want competitiveness within your teams, and it was in the corporate context, um, then meditation is not going to help. And so, this is an area of interest for me, to see. It's like wrong tool for the wrong job. If you employ, then you're not going to get success, right? On the flip side, I also have observed and seen a lot of research where, golf players before their game, they kind of focus and concentrate. It's like, in a way, it's a bit of a meditation itself. Um, and a lot of, there is a lot of concentration needed for most of the sports. However, what happens is, like, somewhere I feel the differentiation is that, say, if somebody is going out of their way to achieve some success, um, at the cost of either their own well-being or well-being of people around them, or even worse, when you hurt other people to get to a higher, ground in terms of, talk about corporate greed, etc. When you start grounding yourself, you will see, like, would that still makes as much sense? Probably not. So we have to look at those aspects. I agree with you, and what I have seen is, um, you know you will develop your practice, and that changes a lot of things. um, doesn't necessarily mean you will become less effective at all. It's just that sometimes, and that is where I think, uh, this practice and what Guru Maharaj taught was different from a lot of other practices. Like, his view was, stay in the game, keep doing what you're doing, um, and in the process evolve yourself and serve others. And I think, if you do that, you should get better at what you do. So
That makes sense.
a lot of times, and I think you were trying to differentiate between aggression and effective use of force. And yeah, it makes a whole lot of difference there, right? I mean, you can go, head on into something that you actually don't want to, just because there's so much energy and so much um, inertia in that direction, um,
Yeah, that's
or
true, actually.
momentum for that matter. Yeah. So, but that is where I think, there is this discussion of vivek, or the discretionary powers that we have, the ability to decide what is right and wrong, right? So far as we utilize that power properly, um, I think, in my view, if I look at um, my father and my uncles, I mean, my father was a teacher, chemistry professor in the university, um, continued to serve while, at later, so I used to ask him, and in India, and I'm going back into the 60s, 70s, traveling wasn't that easy. And so he used to go in his summer vacation and winter vacation to travel, and sometimes to places where the temperatures were not, so travel not comfortable, temperatures, like it was very hot sometimes where he would go, and very cold. And I'm like, why do you choose these times? And he said, like, hey, I have a job, and that's the time I get to travel to meet people I need to meet. And I'm like, I remember having that conversation. And later on, I think after he retired, obviously he was more busy. So, and it was a lot of travel and a lot of, so interestingly, I sometimes look, so there are a couple of things that come to my mind. One is he was more busy in his retirement, which I think is a very healthy thing. And second was like, he was in chemistry, science, thermodynamics, and all that, and quantum mechanics, and so on and so forth. And instead, his later years, he was, and he used to give scientific examples and things like that, but he dedicated his life to, just freely sharing this practice with, folks in India, mostly in northern India. Very, and interestingly, my mother, you know, so she was like more in the shadows, but once my um, father passed away, she was always available to people when they used to visit, um, my home. So, and what I learned from that was that for doing service, sometimes we think we need to do this, that. If you, what I learned from my mother was, if you genuinely listen to people and give them their time, that is a service of its own kind. Um, so you don't even have to like write a check. You just give people their time in a genuine and sincere way. That's phenomenal. But I see, that's why I'm thinking that, if I talk more about mental resilience, one, I think stress and a lot of other, uh, issues are showing up everywhere. So, and I almost feel that I can talk about like different cultures, different practices, different religions. Uh, how do they help mental resilience? And and there are so many ways throughout the world. And how does that help to be more spiritually aware, and how um, you can become more focused on service and so on and so forth? Because at the end of the day, I think once you I, I think knowing your purpose in life is important, but if I can go out on a limb, when people realize their purpose, most of the time it is how they serve others. All right.
Well said, well said. Thank you. I had more comments that you inspired in me with what you just said, but I would like to let others talk.
No, I think let's continue. This is a good discussion going. I think everybody is kind of listening until unless somebody else.
I can attest to the whole, if you give someone your presence. I have a supervisor that I think is maybe the best, has displayed the best leadership I've ever seen. And what's interesting is she doesn't try to be your best friend. I've had supervisors like that and they weren't really that great.
It's like,
But she, even if it's brief, she will always give, like, she will put her attention on you very substantively and make you feel seen. Even if it's just for 5 seconds, she'll like just, be present fully. She's fully present. She'll make an effort to like say hello or how are you doing, check in. And it's like for those however long minutes, it's like 100%, 110% present and like empathetic and compassionate and like checking in to make sure you're okay, and doing what she can to help you and support you. And it's like I've never seen that before, and I think you're right. Like I think it's because that is a service actually. It doesn't take, and it doesn't seem to take much, but yes, I agree. You know, contrast with like others who will do everything, like bake cookies for you or whatever it is, but like they're not really like, I don't know, they're not
yeah,
performing a positive service. I don't know how to explain it, but she's amazing. So I agree with that. I've seen that in play.
so it's very, very interesting. So as you were describing that, I was kind of visualizing myself sitting in front of some of the leaders in Satsang, and I literally, how you articulated that was like, I have felt that, you know, um, it's like literally you are in the present moment where somebody is actually seeing you, and it's the yeah, it's sometimes hard to describe, but it's almost they are not distracted, and for some, because in a way satsang leaders always had this attraction, and this, so you are also not distracted, and the entire, like, you are in the moment there, in the present moment, and very aware. um, so the question then becomes that some of these people who, um, like at work, they are able to do this, so they could potentially, they have this, you know, uh, thing that can elevate them. So, and this is, I think sometimes I connect 2 and 2 = 5, but so what is required for, um, you know, that service becoming really like exponentially more valuable. So think of selfless versus towards the bottom line. So if your supervisor, your manager is driving towards the company's progress, your productivity, their own team's productivity, there is a bottom line somewhere. If the same thing is done selflessly, boom, then it's exponential growth. And to get to that state, you need that evolution within yourself. Hope that makes sense.
Yes, it does. But it's packed with a lot, so I feel like I need to process that a little more.
It actually is, and it reminds me, this was probably a decade ago or so, maybe more, actually more. So I was somewhere having a conversation, and then it just kind of dawned on me that a lot of my seniors and C-level people, they talk about this integrity and the values, which I would call spiritual values. So why are they not, super charged and super spiritually aware and all that? And only thing I could come up was that when you utilize those values and those strengths to a bottom line, there is, it's not selfless, it is more driven by that. And if you take out the bottom line, then boom, it's selfless and it's a night and day difference.
That's very true.
It is actually because otherwise, you go to any company, they have these values, they have, and I have seen very high level people, very empathy is like their second nature. But then they are sometimes behind the scenes, like not so empathetic at all. And I'm like, this doesn't add up. So something, so it's just having those values towards a goal gives you that goal, financial and this, that, and otherwise. But then when you take that goal out, and now your service is for people in a true service spirit. Wow, we got carried away today.
Yeah, I want to let others talk because I always love other people's comments. But thank you for entertaining that conversation with me.
This was awesome. Thank you. So Yashvita, Ashita, anything? Geeta, Paula, Ajita.
Hi, nothing from my side.
Namaskar. Yeah, Ashita, how are things? Good to see you.
Hi, yeah, good to see you. I wanted to share a little experience I had. I was in New York for the last few weeks, and I did an ice bath. And sorry, I'm a little sick. Oh, it's sick season. Anyways, I did a ice bath, and it was my first time doing one, and I feel like that was my top experience related to mental resilience, because you had to be in this freezing water for 2 minutes. And the first time I did it, I didn't think I could do the 2 minutes, but I did it with my friend, and it passed by so quickly. It felt like 20 seconds, but it was 2 minutes, because my brain fully just shut off, and I never felt so present in that moment. I was not thinking about anything, just my breath and the focusing on that moment and trying to get through it. And we came out, and I felt like, oh my God, if I can do that, I can do anything.
Yeah. Mm.
But I feel like the meditation that we did today was, in a sense, even harder for me than that ice bath, because in that moment you kind of are forced
Mm.
to shut off your brain, because your body physically is feeling sensations that you have no other choice.
Mm.
um, but here it's completely up to you whether you are focused or not, and there's no other forces forcing you to do anything. And I felt like this was even harder than that, which I would have never thought before. But um,
So maybe I should.
do ice baths, yes.
Yeah, I hmm. See the. It's interesting. See, sometimes the process that the practice that we have is so simple, um, that on one hand it's very hard to fathom like how powerful it is, but then there are ways in which you can like believe it or not, I actually was thinking about mushrooms. So uh, I watched
No way.
that. Yeah, because see, the thing is, you do ice bath or you do mushrooms. The thing is that you're like, again, don't take it literally. I'm just to make a point that there is a quick but externally induced way to get to a state, right? And then there is another, like running a marathon, where you prep and prep to get to that state, right? So,
Yes.
I mean, the kind of beings we can't be in ice bath 100% of the time, right? So, the question is, can I be in a state where I'm present in the moment all the time? So imagine that. And I'm just, because this is the subject today, just giving you food for thought. Imagine that everybody you met today, you gave your 100%. You're not distracted like, like with me, with the phone, with what's going on at work, or, this or that, or blah, blah, blah. 100% present moment, right? In the moment with the people. And I'm telling you, it will be a whole new thing. And imagine that you live like that. So see, the thing was that, even Keel, and just ups and downs, and nothing happens to you because you are connected to this, not power that doesn't flip flop at all.
Yeah, that state of mind would be ideal for sure. Um, and like you said, it's the simpler it is, it's so
Yeah,
counterintuitive. Like, it should be easier, but it's almost not.
it's not.
Yeah.
So actually, I was thinking that, you know, oh, my goal is to make my mind thought free. Wow, easier said than done, right? So this whole hoopla that Guru Maharaj kind of pulled together, it's like this uh, structure, this approach. I mean, we have to like meditate for 15 minutes. Why does it take 2 hours for us to go through all this? The reason is um, that our minds don't switch from wherever they were. So, so it's like transition in, and then you go into that state, and then you transition out, which is like more absorbing and uh, inculcating that state. Um, so yeah, it's simple, but not, it is a lot of pieces, parts and pieces and dimensions to it. I mean, imagine like, why do we have to have instructions every single time if it was that simple, right? It's like, why do you? So mind is such that it's like even after instructions, it doesn't follow through, right? So um, yeah, it's an interesting thing.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, good to have you all. And it was, I think, I agree. It was a great session today. And thank you all for that. And looking forward to being in satsang again soon. Love, light, and peace be with you. And we'll see you all very, very soon. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Namaskar.
Bye, everyone.
Bye now.
Namaskar ji.
Namaskar.
Namaskar to everyone.